My testimony. My name is Dennis Brooks, born to Michael Brooks, Gene Fields, August 2nd, 1978. Ah man, what can I say? How can I start? My life has been crazy since I honestly was born. Um, I guess my testimony is more of me venting to myself. Um, I went through a lot as a kid. My parents was good parents. Don't get me wrong, and they tried their best. They loved us, um, and they was great parents. But I went through a lot as a kid. My mom and dad divorced real young. Um, my dad was a good dad, but he was very abusive, um, mentally and physically to my mom. To the point where they got divorced, and me and my brother always went back and forth, going back and you know what I mean. They would always fight who gonna live with who, and we would always go back and forth, and it was very traumatic. When you're a little kid dealing with that with your parents, I can definitely say that. But you know, those situations, which is big as a little kid, then became huge situations. Um, when I say huge, I mean huge. It became more demonic, and became a more spiritual battle more than anything as a kid. Um, a lot of things I didn't even tell my parents or my mom. Um, More importantly, because you know, I, even as a grown man, I always thought I could say, talk to my mom about anything, and I can, but excuse me, and I can, but that's a certain thing. It was very touchy for me. Um, Example, I can recall being a little kid and laying in my bed, and I can literally hear um, Satan talking in my ear as a kid, and he would whisper in my ear and tell me to do things, to my brother or my mom or my dad, and I would actually hear these things, and I thought I was crazy as a kid, but I used to actually hear him whispering to me like it was just laying in my pillow, and I was as a little kid, man, I was petrified, and I really didn't know how to channel my thoughts, you know, didn't know how to channel my thoughts at all, so I just kept it to myself, bottled it up, never, you know. And if I did tell somebody, they would, laugh, oh, Brooks seeing ghosts, and, this dude crazy. But, I was just, I was tired of bottling up, but when I felt like I would talk to somebody about it, they really didn't understand what I was saying, so I would just keep it in, what made it a lot worse. Um, uh, but I've had so many crazy situations happen to me um, that it's ridiculous. Another example, uh, I was my second marriage. Second marriage um, wasn't doing too good. Me and my ex-wife got divorced. Actually, we were separated at the time, and I got me another house, a entirely different house, and I moved out the house, and everything was cool at first. Anybody in Columbus, Ohio, where I'm from, they're familiar with Polaris area. I bought a house off of Africa Road. Very nice neighborhood, none but white folks, and I was the only brother when I moved out there. So when I moved out there, beautiful home, wasn't no issues or nothing at first, no problems. And then I say maybe 2 months, not even 2 months, maybe about a month and a half of living there, things just went crazy. Um, I remember one night I went to got a drink with a ex girlfriend of mine, and my car was in the shop. and she had picked me up at my house, and we went to go get a drink. And I came back home. She dropped me off, and I was in my sunroom. You know, the sunroom at the time I was watching TV, and all of a sudden, I mean, it was like it had to be like maybe like 2 o'clock in the morning. I heard this boom, and it sounded like anybody familiar with an M80. It sounded like an M80. It sounded like one of those firecrackers, but it sounded real loud. Maybe like maybe it's like a 22 shotgun rifle, loud but not that loud, but loud enough that you hear that in the house, you gonna jump up. So I heard it. I jumped up like, what is that? It would sound like it came from my basement. Um, so I jumped up, checked out, see what it was, and there wasn't nothing there. So I said, well, maybe it's a furnace or something. I'm trying to wrap my mind around what's going on. So went downstairs, like I said, nothing happened. So I left it at that. Fast forward, probably another 2, 3 weeks, around maybe at 2:30 o'clock, at 2:30 in the morning, same time. I'm in there watching TV, sunroom. Boom, happens again. This time I'm like, man, what is going on? So I get up, go look, nothing, right? Nothing at all. Fast forward, about a week later, sitting in my sunroom, relaxing. Boom, does it again. At this time, I'm like, something's not right. This is just something is not right. I jump up, and when I get up,